side. Pons turns the corner, the lock. Oh! Owens! Puts it up again to the cup. Oh my goodness! Lets it fly. Oh, he hit it! Shamari Power, and it's over. St. John's, shut the nation.
Tonight, top-ranked Villanova welcomes St. John's. In Sunday's win over Seton Hall. Simon the lob, and Owens finishes. Pons, tough shot. Are you kidding me? Pons to the hoop for two. Counted, and the foul. Simon up ahead to Clark. Nobody back. Clark in the foul. Returning the favor. St. John's has done it. They knock off the #1 team in the country on the road.
Madness for New York's team. The St. John's Red Storm lead off a wild week around Big East hoops. The Big East has injected madness into February, and we're here to recap it, talk about it all. He's Jay Alter. I'm John Fanta. Big East Shootaround live from New York. What a week.
St. John's, the story of the college basketball, heck, the sports world today. And you know what? A cliche has always been, oh, any given night, anybody can beat anybody. Well, we saw it last night. An 0-11 St. John's team in Big East play knocked off the #1 team in the country days after beating the preseason #1 team, #4 Duke, and Wojciechowski.
Unbelievable. The Red Storm, you have to credit Coach Mullin. Started 0-11 in Big East play, had come close so many times, have had adversity, but Shamari Pons is playing as well as anybody in the country right now.
And Justin Simon, almost a triple-double in the win in Philly. You have to say, seriously, no other team in the entire country has 2 better wins than St. John's the last 4 days, #4 Duke, #1 Villanova.
Enough from us. Justin Simon and Chris Mullin, they talked about it. The St. John's Red Storm are the story in college basketball. Really one of the best stories in all of sports, as the Red Storm have beaten Duke and Villanova in back-to-back games. Justin Simon is with us now. Justin, how can you sum up these wins?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Talk about a crazy 5 days just preparing for Duke and preparing for Nova. Madison Square Garden was a crazy environment, but I think going to Nova was even crazier. So, I mean, it's just unbelievable, like I said.
When Coach Mullin recruited you, and you told me this past summer, he said you could be a part of something like this. To now see this materialize, back-to-back top 5 wins for this program, first time in their history, what's it mean?
Means a lot. Means a lot. I mean, like I said, this is something we've always been talking about doing, just winning at a high level and on a big stage. And just to get those 2 wins, I mean, just shows the potential our team has and just the talent and just the ability to play with anybody in the country.
How have you guys stayed the course this season?
Just game by game still. I mean, we've been in every game. Just keep competing, keep playing at a high level, play unselfish, and defend. That's one thing that's been helping us stay in these games and winning games. We've been defending at a high level, so just keeping that up and playing together and just keep moving forward game by game.
You and Shamari Pons are an absolute problem for teams right now. What's clicking for the 2 of you, and what's it like playing alongside him right now?
Shamari Pons has been amazing. I mean, the numbers he's putting up is ridiculous, especially as a sophomore. He's like I said, one of the best guards in the Big East. I love playing beside him. Defensively, he has the best hands I've ever seen, and offensively, he's able to score with the best of them. But I mean, we just go out there and attack, stay aggressive. Coach Mullin gives us that confidence, and we just play at a high level, and he lets us go.
What can happen for this team from here? Because I know that the conference record isn't what you want it to be. Yeah. But what's on your minds now going forward here as we near March?
Really just building off that Duke win. Just showing, like I said, we can play with anybody in the country any given night. So we just got to ratchet our game. Everybody has to raise their game to a higher level. And just like I said, take every game by game and possession by possession and just keep playing hard and get a victory.
You get 2 wins like this. Who's the best post-game locker room dancer?
Oh man, I'm gonna have to go with either Ryan Trimble or Tariq Owens. For sure, BA, for sure, man. He's in the mix sometimes. Coach Mullin, everybody, man. It's a good environment, man. Like just those 2 moments right there, really big, really special for our program, and just it's looking bright for us, and just got to keep moving forward.
How's your phone right now?
My phone's going crazy. Everyone. Oh, you said my thumb or my phone?
Your phone.
My phone? Oh yeah. No, my phone. Yeah, my phone's going crazy. The fans welcomed us back on campus yesterday. Last night. That was an incredible environment, and just they're behind us and showing their support every game. So I mean, we just keep fighting for them, and just the city deserves it. So I mean, we just keep fighting.
You told us to stay tuned, didn't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, now we're tuned in. Now we're tuned in the Johnnies. They're back on the map. Justin, thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks, John.
Hey, Coach. Your last 3 games have been against top 6 ranked teams, and Shamari Pons has scored 90 points in that span. What's made him so effective for you guys the past couple games?
Well, he's been effective, virtually from day one. So he's scored the ball. I think just last 3 weeks or so, he seemed to me to be moving really, really well. He looked a little chipped up a little bit. We don't have the deepest team right now, playing a lot of minutes, but he looks really fresh physically, creating separation, getting to the rim. And I think he's doing a really, really good job of mixing up when he's an aggressive scorer and then getting into the paint and making good decisions. So he's playing at a high level, but he always has. I mean, the guy's, from day one, he's been a tremendous player.
Yes, Coach. The entire Big East is almost scoring at a historic level. Any change you've seen in your time in the league? What would account for that? Obviously, there's some really good players. Have the styles changed? Are the teams all adjusted to the rules emphases by the NBA? Is there any kind of common thread that would account for that?
Well, this is obviously such a long time ago, but yeah, the 3-point shot obviously has been the biggest impact on basketball at all levels. The Big East in particular, it's a real, not only competitive top to bottom, but I think a high-scoring league. And, tremendous players throughout. The coaches do a great job of getting their best players shots. And but it's to me, it's a phenomenal league. And going back to what the old Big East or whatever you want to call it, to me, it's tougher now because just top to bottom, each and every team could beat anyone else on a given night. So many teams, there's been some blowouts, but most games are really coming down to 1 or 2 possessions. And it doesn't matter if it's the top team or the bottom team. So top to bottom, to me, it's as tough as it's ever been.
That was Coach Mullin on today's Big East Coaches teleconference call. Now, St. John's is one of many stories across a loaded couple of nights in the Big East. Let's get to it. The fastest 2 minutes in Big East hoops. Cue the music and the highlights.
John, there was drama everywhere this week in the Big East, but no more than Philadelphia last night. Under 2 minutes, Brunson. That is why he's one of the best players in the nation, hooping the harm, but it was all Johnny's to close it out.
Tough finish by Marvin Clark. Impact transfer. Colin Gillespie. That gets Villanova within 1, but Shamari Pons puts this one on ice. Red Storm, their first win over the top-ranked team in the nation since 1985 when Chris Mullin's Red Storm, when he was playing, they beat Georgetown. And how about a hug? Oh, it sums it up. Johnny's with history.
Also last night at the Rock, Marquette, Seton Hall, tight game. Marcus Howard, I'll take 3 of these. And you know what? When Marquette's stroking it from deep, Golden Eagles, unstoppable. How about another?
Big-time shots by the Golden Eagles. Sakar Annam, a career night for the Marquette standout. He lifts the Golden Eagles past Seton Hall. Strus is loose. How about not one dunk, but then, ensuing Creighton possession, another.
Love this kid. Brings it every night for DePaul. Blue Demons leading by 4. Not so fast. Marcus Foster. Here come the Blue Jays.
Kane in the clutch for the tie, but then Foster. What a way to get 2,000 career points. Bang! Creighton, they find a way on the road.
How about the end of this game? Xavier goes up 3. They think they've got it. One last stop for Butler. Get it to Kamar Baldwin. Someone, guard him, guard him. Oh, no. There it is. We're going to overtime at Hinkle.
And then in OT, Trayvon blew it.
Woo!
Stone cold in the clutch. The Indiana native. You can't write a better script.
Down 5, 1:20 to go. Let's go crazy in the dunk. Providence roars on back. Friars win. And look how much it means to Ed Cooley.
That sums it up this time of year, folks. You cannot take anything for granted in the Big East Conference. No easy nights. When you get a win, it is like a treasure.
5 games this week in our conference. Average margin of victory, 3. 3 points. That's one possession, folks. It is coming down to the wire, the drama, each and every game. And we just saw it in the fastest 2 minutes. You got to be clutch late. Marcus Foster, Kamar Baldwin, and Marcus Howard.
It speaks to the experience in the league. It is the oldest conference in terms of stars. And around the Big East, you have big-time bucket getters, whether it's Blewett, Foster, Martin, so many.
So we're in February. You start to think bubble. You start to think March Madness. Marquette going into that road game against Seton Hall, they needed that win. They needed it. No ifs and or buts about it. And guess what? They got it. John Fanta, he was at the Rock, talked to head coach Steve Wojciechowski and star guard Marcus Howard.
What a road win for Marquette. They get it done at Seton Hall. I'm joined by head coach Steve Wojciechowski. And coach, just how satisfying is it for you guys to come out of here with a victory?
Well, this is such a tough place to win, and I have so much respect for Kevin and the job that he does with his experienced team. And we were reeling a little bit coming into this game, but I thought our team showed great resolve. We knew they were going to make runs throughout the course of the game, and our team may have bent, but we didn't break, and we were able to make a few more plays than they were, and so it was a great win for our team.
You know it, this conference schedule is a grind, and collectively you guys won this game. What's it say about this group, that you've stuck together through the highs, through the lows?
Yeah, you know, this is just a part of our journey, you know. Great teams go through trials and tribulations, you know, and how you respond from that really dictate the character of your team. So I think the way we responded tonight, you know, coming off 4 losses in the Big East is really mature of our team and just shows growth and shows growth and improvement. Definitely. I mean, coach has been talking about it for a couple weeks now, just playing with joy. And, you know, we played to the best of our ability, you know, playing smart, playing hard. It's really joyful. So, I mean, we were happy to be able to play the way we did tonight.
And for your team to stay the course, this conference schedule can offer ups and downs, but to answer the way they did tonight, how much of that is a credit to a young group staying mentally strong?
Well, John, we're a maturing team. And, you know, when you're growing as a group, there's going to be peaks and valleys. And we've been in the valley for the last 4 games, and hopefully we're crawling out of it. You know, we have a group of young men who want to win, but there's a big difference between wanting to win and doing the things that it takes to win. And part of our maturation process is understanding the difference between the two. We're going to be playing the hottest team in the country in the next game. You know, they just beat Duke and heard they beat Villanova. And, hey, in the Big East, that's no surprise. I mean, 1 through 10, this league is a monster. And it's a credit to the talented young men that are in this league and the outstanding coaches that coach in the league.
Congrats on a big-time road W.
Thank you very much.
So after all that, here's where we stand.
Xavier at the top spot, Villanova, and then this is what I like to call the dog pack. Creighton, Providence, Butler, Seton Hall, and Marquette. Nobody's safe.
No, and 2 of those top 5 in the standings will be squaring off this weekend, with Butler traveling to Villanova, as well as Creighton hosting. Now, first place, Xavier. Both those games on Fox Saturday. Grab your popcorn for that doubleheader.
How about the Butler Bulldogs? They lost to Xavier at home, but LaValle Jordan doing great job at 7-5 and great position in those standings. Man, it took us a little while, but we're finally going to get to our fast break. A little NBA spotlight in former Villanova Wildcat Josh Hart. He is lighting it up in L.A. I mean, half his team got traded today. But Josh Hart has been terrific on both ends of the floor. Of course, Big East and Villanova fans know that he gives it on both ends each and every night.
Yeah, Big East Shootaround is battling Woj bombs right now. But Josh Hart, nothing's stopping him. at the Staples Center, lighting it up. Lakers, they are trending in the right direction. And Hart said it, we're young, but I'll tell you what, we got a common mindset. Look at the stats.
He's averaging a double-double, 3 straight for LA. And Josh Hart's going to get a lot more playing time because, again, they just traded half the roster while we, have been on the air for about 20 minutes. So
pretty crazy day, pretty crazy time in sports, and the Big East fits right into that landscape. And as if we haven't had enough entertainment for you thus far, we've got the governor, Bill Raftery, coming up. But first, we throw it back to 1985. The last time before last night, St. John's had gotten a win over number 1.
1-point game, no timeouts left. 5 seconds. Now, Chris taking his time. He's not going to use it. He doesn't use it. Chris Mullin wisely running the clock out. Georgetown was out of timeouts, and the Red Men have done it. They have upset Georgetown.
The 3. Brunson for 3. No good, and St. John's has done it. They knock off the number 1 team in the country. This after they beat number 4 Duke on Saturday. On the road.
With March just around the corner, no better time for a State of the Union in the Big East than with the governor, Bill Raftery. Coach, your thoughts on the conference right now?
Probably as wild as ever. A blanket over most of the teams. If you don't really come with your A game, you're going to have some problems. Upset after upset here and there. You get a little fat, or in some cases, you have a great effort and you don't succeed. It takes the air out of some of these kids, and I think that's what happened to Marquette with the Villanova game. Now the big question is how many get in, and they got to beat up on some of the upper echelon if they want to get from that 7-6 into the 6-5. So we'll see.
You've seen a lot of great Villanova teams, a lot of great teams, period. Where does this Villanova team rank in the ones that you've seen through the years?
They're probably the best shooting Villanova team. I've seen teams bigger, maybe some quicker, but I haven't seen a guard run a show like Brunson does that coordinates their offense and gets guys in the right spot, makes timely baskets and goals, and his decision-making is absolutely incredible. He's flawless, basically, and another coach on the floor, and I think that's what really makes them a little step better than most of the Villanova teams. And we know there's been great guards. Lowry comes to mind, Curry, Kittles, but not one that really has this feel and understanding of what should be done on each trip down the floor.
And then there's Xavier right behind them. Elite 8 last year, so one thinks the goal is Final Four. Can they be that type of team?
Sure they can. I mean, I think last year surprised a lot of people except people who saw them. And the key in the tournament is to be playing your best and hopefully get a seed that, is reasonable. Xavier is one of those teams. Recently I've been reading the paper. People are saying, well, maybe they should be one of the top 4 seeds. So they just have to keep winning and taking care of business. And they have some tough games coming up like all the other teams in the conference.
This Seton Hall team, some ups and downs, but a senior core. What do you make of them, and what can it take for them to finally get over the hump, make some sort of a big dance run?
They have far more ups than I did as a coach, I assure you. And not as many downs either. I watched the Marquette game that they really were in the game 41-40, and they fouled on a three-point shot, as I remember, Rousey. They sort of lost their legs, but I've seen them come back. Creighton, for example, they were 13 down, I think, and came back. So, it's such an experienced team, and I think they're a tough group, like mentally tough, hardened. So, there's a lot to like about them, but they're going to get beat in this league, and they've got to survive and steal 1 or 2 coming down the stretch. They're a tournament team, we know that. But I think Kevin and his kids want to go a little bit further this year.
One more team I wanted to hit on, Coach. We could talk all day. I know you've listened to me all day before, but the Georgetown Hoyas. You've talked to Patrick Ewing before games, and the question going in was, how would he handle this job? Now, they've been close a lot of times, but how do you think he's doing year one, the approach of it and handling this job?
Well, early in the year, I was sent down to do a feature on him, and I watched practice, and I knew then that he was really engaged. And I think when you're an NBA guy, it takes a while maybe to understand that guy on the other bench is pretty good. His players are pretty good. That, you know, it's all about being ready for every game, and I think he has done that. They've gotten better. They are not as good in the backcourt as we traditionally have known them, and that's hurt them, you know, with turnovers at key times. But I just think he's, from what I'm told, done a good job recruiting. He likes the job, and he's bought in.
Last but not least, you get to pick 3, maybe 4 Big East legends, whether coach, former player, to go out, night on the town with.
Oh, my God.
Who is it?
Well, it definitely wouldn't be Boeheim. I think I put PJ in the mix. Going back, Gary Williams. Let's see who else. Louis Conaseca, because he'd be entertaining as heck. And maybe you, John. We'll throw you in there.
I would love to.
As long as you pick up the check, that group would be very happy.
I'll start with the rum and coke.
Right.
What are you starting with?
I don't know, the wine list. We'll go from there.
Coach, thank you.
Thanks, John. No problem.
That was a lot of fun.
Really good. Throwing shots at Jim Boeheim. What did Jim do to Bill?
He's the governor. He's gave the State of the Union.
And what was your biggest takeaway talking to him and then having the night unfold like it did?
Well, that's exactly it, is that we had that interview, and Bill sums it up there. Fitting that the governor says wild as ever when talking about the Big East, and then we see the way last night goes down. And then he says that Villanova's got the best shooting team maybe that he's ever seen. Folks, Villanova had made 12 or more three-pointers in 10 of their last 12 games going into last night. And last night they only hit 8 threes. They shot 24% from beyond the arc. They had come in averaging 40%. So, look, they're human too. They are a machine, but at some point, shorthanded, you know, missing Eric Paschall was key. It really was. Villanova will be just fine. But I'll tell you what, give St. John's credit. This conference is wild as ever because of how close teams are coming. You're seeing the coaches said at the beginning of the season, the bottom of the league has gotten better.
Look at Georgetown this week. Look at DePaul this week. It's coming down to the last couple of possessions. No team is safe. There is drama everywhere. If you don't execute, if you have a poor shooting night, guess what? You're going to lose in this conference, and it doesn't matter if you're home or not. Look at what Marquette did last night at the Rock in a game they desperately needed to keep their hopes for a postseason run alive. And, John, I think when you take a look at this at the big picture, and not just last night and the night before in the Big East, is we are building towards what is going to be an incredible drama-filled week in March at Madison Square Garden.
March 7th to the 10th as the March to MSG rolls on. And with the tournament about a month away, it's only fitting to bring in a bracketologist. And we had Fox's Howie Schwab on earlier this week. Xavier wins at Butler earlier this week. They're at Creighton this weekend. A week from Saturday, they're hosting Villanova. Certainly opportunities for the Musketeers to move up to that one line. What have you seen from them that could make them a 1 seed?
Well, I think Xavier's not far off, and certainly beating Butler at Butler is in overtime is a special win. And the one thing I like about the Xavier team is it's more than just Blewett and McCurra now. I mean, guys like Cantor and Marshall have stepped up at times, and I think Chris Mack's got a really deeper team, a more talented team. I look back at a few of the losses early in the season, and the Arizona State game, and now Arizona State is faded, so that doesn't look as great on the resume, but I mean, Xavier's been tough. I mean, the win over Cincinnati is certainly very big. Cincinnati's moved up very nicely this year. So when you look at the overall resume, Xavier is very good. Right now, they're a solid 2 seed, and it's possible they can move up to 1. I think if Michigan State loses to Purdue and Xavier gets a road win against Creighton coming up, then Xavier could move up.
Howie Schwab, Fox College Hoops bracketologist. Howie, I got to tell you, I'm thinking of you this time of year, man. I don't know if you can ever be friends with everybody, right, this time of year?
No, I can tell you from the tweets I get, there are some people who are not friends. They don't love me for some of the things I say, but I just give my opinion. I'm honest. I break it down. I mean, it's very subjective, but it's going to be a fun tournament.
Hey,
it's going to be great.
It's all about the madness. Fox College basketball bracketologist Howie Schwab, thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Anytime.
And I feel for Howie Schwab and bracketologist Joe Lenardi, good friend Jerry Palm, because with wild nights like we saw last night and the night before in this conference, you're constantly writing, switching it up. Seeds are changing by the hour, it seems. And I want to put you on a little bracketologist hot seat, if you will. Do some blind RPIs. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready. Glasses are tilted. Here we go.
All right. First slate for you. So basically, you've seen a blind RPI before.
Yes.
Team 1 and Team 2.
Sure.
This is what the bracketologists are doing right now. Pretty even. Quadrant 1. That's the most important thing this year. That's what the committee is looking for. So Team 1, 6-3. Team 2 is 9-1. Strength of schedule, 15-29. Ken Palm's got Team 2 up at number 2 and Team 1 at 14. John Fanta, which one of those two are you taking?
Quadrant 1 wins are what the committee's looking most at. So regardless of the strength of schedule there, it's still a top 30 strength of schedule. I like a 9-1 team. In Quadrant 1, I go with Team 2. That's my team.
All right,
Let's see.
Let's reveal. So you are taking the Villanova Wildcats over the Xavier Musketeers, two teams that are going to battle it out for the Big East regular season title. Now let's add in a third team, a team that is right now being compared with Team 1 and 2. Purdue at the top of the Big Ten. Bracketologists have them on the top line, the number 1 seed. Ken Palm's got them 3.
Yeah.
But what they are lacking is those Quadrant 1 wins and the non-conference strength of schedule. Only 5-2 in Quadrant 1, and outside the top 100 in non-conference strength of schedule.
It's a big strength of schedule difference. It is very significant. The Boilermakers are a really strong team, but if you look at those 3 there, they're all comparable, and that's the thing. Xavier is a 1 seed potentially. No doubt they very well could be, and you see why there.
So when you look at the blind resumes, you make an easy case that 2 Big East teams would be ahead of the Boilermakers. All right, we got another one for you, John. Blind RPIs. Take a look at the 2 teams. Who do you like?
I got to tell you, I like the volume, actually. I like the Quadrant 2 5-1 record because at 500 in Quadrant 1, I actually am leaning. No, you know what?
Non-conference strength of schedule, 249-80. How does that switch things for you?
It switches me to Team 2 because it's so significant, so I'm going to go with Team 2 here.
Okay, Team 2, Seton Hall over Creighton. And Ken Palm, he's got them both in the top 35. These teams have been neck and neck all season long, but it's the strength of schedule that does it for you.
To the fans, I can promise you, I have no idea what's coming at me here.
It is. It's truly blind. Team 3, Bob Huggins, West Virginia, right in that mix at about a 4, 5, 6 seed right now. How do they stack up? RPI's right in there the same, but look at the non-conference strength of schedule, 221.
And
that'll
that's
hurt.
The main difference here. That's why I picked Team 2, and it makes a little bit more sense now because Seton Hall's win over Texas Tech, their road win at Louisville, the win over Texas Tech is such a tremendous victory, a game changer on Selection Sunday.
Do you feel for the bracketologists? We're only halfway done with the blind RPIs.
I do. I seriously feel for them.
All right, another one. Team 1, Team 2. Who do you like?
I am going to go with Team 1 here. I like Team 1. Because of the Quadrant 1 record is much better than Team 2, and the non-conference strength of schedule is significantly better, as well as the strength of schedule period.
Now, one thing before you make the choice, Ken Palm has Team 2, Ken Pomeroy, at 20, at Team 1 at 62. Well, you're saying, guess what? I like Quadrant 1 wins and non-conference schedule better.
Yeah, Ken Palm and I aren't friends here. Team 1.
Team 1, you are going with Ed Cooley and the Providence Friars over the Butler Bulldogs.
Yeah, and I'm really shocked at the fact that Providence is Ken Palm 62 because I know that their non-conference strength of schedule might not look great, but I can tell you right now, you play teams like Rhode Island. You play a team like Belmont, a really good mid-major, a team that is going to be a sleeper there for folks on Selection Sunday. The Providence Friars Oh, man, here's a really interesting comparison with Arizona State.
Right, and the big thing here
91 and 154.
The Pac-12 is down this year. Strength of schedule brings it down to 91 and non-conference 154. I'd say Providence and Butler have the better stats.
Here's the difference, though. Butler's got to win over the #1 ranked team in the nation.
Yep. Okay, I almost gave away the first team. Team 1, Team 2. Who do you like?
3 and 8. That strength of schedule, which is #1. Man, oh man.
The
These
#1
are
strength of
teams.
schedule in the entire country. Only 2 Quadrant 1 wins, though.
Yeah, the non-conference strength of schedule might do it for me, Jay, because Team 1 only has 2 Quadrant 2 wins as well. So I'm going to go with Team 2 here.
Well, guess what? Those 2 Quadrant 1 wins happened in the last 4 days. The St. John's Red Storm, they're not dead yet, folks.
Oh, man. Wow.
It's tough. And then NC State, a comparable, though. They've also done well in Quadrant 1. But that non-conference strength of schedule is putrid.
And certainly beating Duke makes a big difference. I mean, my goodness. Hey, I was joking in the press room last night. I wouldn't be surprised if St. John's got an AP vote on Monday. So.
Look, there's certainly an Andy Katz top 36. I can guarantee you that.
It might very well be.
John had no idea what was in the blind
Marquette.
bracket. But that shows you how tough a job it is for the committee, for the bracketologists, because they tell you, oh, non-conference strength of schedule, oh, Quadrant 1. At the end of the day, isn't a lot of it the eye test?
Yeah, it really is. There's a subjective element to it.
Right.
Howie Schwab told me yesterday, he goes, folks, at the end of the day, I can't watch every team every night, but I do my very best. There's a subjective element to it. That's just a fact of it. As we get to our upcoming games
Let's
now
do it.
In the Big East this weekend, what game are you looking out for?
Butler at Villanova. How does Jay Wright and the Wildcats respond to the loss against St. John's? And Butler, same way, trying to take care of business after a loss to Xavier.
And for me, it's Xavier at Creighton. 2 outstanding bucket getters, Trayvon Blewett, Marcus Foster. Which team's defense can step up, and can Xavier stay committed to the post? They didn't against Butler. Can they do it against Creighton? Enjoy the games this weekend. Hope you enjoyed Big East Shootaround. What an absolutely jam-packed show. Go to @BigEastMBB on Twitter, @BigEast on Twitter, the Big East Facebook page. We will have highlights of this show and more.
We need a nap.
Yeah, we need to take a nap. My goodness gracious, the March to MSG just beginning. Madness in February. And by the way, I have an update. You've been traded.
Okay.